Hi children, so today we are going to see what nuclear forces are or strong force are. Okay, so in this chapter we have already seen what a nucleus is composed of and what are the type of particles which are present inside a nucleus, and it is a general term uh, referred to as nucleons, which is a collective term given to neutrons and protons. Now we know that the nuclear density is very high, of the order of 10 raised to 17 kilogram per meter cube, approximately 10 raised to 17 kilogram per meter cube, and it is almost the same for all the almost no it is the same for all the elements present in the nature or in the universe. So what actually accounts for this high density of a nucleus? We know that the particles which are present inside the nucleus are so well packed or very tightly packed within a small space. So how are they managing to stay so close to each other, apart from or despite the fact that there will be electrostatic force of repulsion between the protons, because we know that protons and neutrons both constitute the nucleus. So protons which are positively charged, when they are so close to each other, there should be some kind of force, a very large electrostatic repulsion between them. But when you consider this force alone, then a nucleus won't be able to stay like that with the protons very close to each other, or the nucleus will fly apart or split into the corresponding nucleons. But that is not happening. So that gave the idea that apart from this force, which is the electrostatic force, there is another kind of force which is operating within the nucleus, which is known as the strong force or the strong nuclear force. And when we consider the strong force or the nuclear force, we have to know about its properties. The first thing, we have already learned or we have already seen what mass defect is. That is, when during the formation of a nucleus, there some mass disappears during its formation, and this mass which has been disappeared will appear as the binding energy, which is considered as the binding energy of the nucleus. That is, that it is very tightly bound, the nucleons are very tightly bound. That means you will have to supply an additional energy or an energy which is equal to its binding energy in order to split a particular nucleus into its corresponding or constituent nucleons. So if they are so well bound, that means the force which is keeping them together should also be very large. So when you we have so far known about the gravitational force and the electrostatic force. Both are conservative and central forces, and also they obey inverse square law. These are the three basic properties of gravitational force as well as electrostatic force. And as these nucleons have a mass, there should be gravitational force among them, but that is very weak. When you consider the electrostatic force, again, that is much larger than the gravitational force, of the order of 10 raised to 36 times. It is larger than the weak gravitational force, but they are very these charges are at very small distance. The electrostatic force of repulsion operates, or it has a an appreciable value. But despite this repulsive force, it is not moving apart, or they are managed to stay stable inside a nucleus. The reason is that there is a force which is 100 times stronger than this electrostatic force, which is the strong force. So it is actually 10 raised to 38 times the force when compared to gravitational force. These both are compared with the gravitational force. The first one is actually the electrostatic force. The second one is the nuclear force. So when you compare these two with the gravitational force, you can see how weak the gravitational force is, and the nuclear force is considered as the strongest. So there should be some extraordinary behavior for this nuclear force. And what are the basic properties or basic characteristics of this nuclear force? So let us see it one by one. So first is that it is the strongest attractive force known. Okay, it is the strongest attractive force. It is it is very strong and attractive when it is when the nucleons are at a particular distance. It can become repulsive also, but when that it is always compared with the distance between the nucleons. That is, when you consider the distance between the nucleons, you can see that the nuclear force is, it is attractive, but it operates only for a short range in the sense, we know that the nuclear size is of the order of Fermi meter, that is 10 raised to minus 15 meters. Up to a few Fermi meters only this nuclear force operates. Beyond that, the nuclear force drops to zero, or it becomes very weak. So that means the nucleons has to stay at a particular small distance in order for the nuclear force to act between them. And when they get too close, that is when it is actually compared with a value 0.8 Fermi meter, less than zero point 0.8 Fermi meter. When the distance between the nucleons is less than zero point 0.8 Fermi meter, it can become repulsive. When it is greater than zero point 0.8 Fermi meter and up to almost along 4 Fermi meter to 10 Fermi meter, this force drops to zero. So you can imagine how short ranged it is. That is, it can operate only up to a particular distance, beyond which this force doesn't have any validity. Okay, or it cannot operate with the, it is not attractive, or that force drops or disappears or vanishes all of a sudden when the nucleons move a little far from each other. Another property is that it has a saturation property. That is, a nucleon can interact with its immediate nucleon only. That is, suppose this is a neutron and it is surrounded by neutrons and protons. This particular nucleon, say it can be a neutron or a proton, will interact with its immediate neighbor only. Any other nucleon which is outer to that, or which stays next to that nucleon, will, will experience no force, no strong nuclear force with this. That is, that much short ranged it is. So when you so that actually throws light on the fact that it has saturation property. That is, if you remove 2 or 3 nucleons from the nucleus, it is not going to affect the interaction between the nucleons which is already present. So it is already in a saturated level. That is, the arrangement itself is it in a saturated level. Next is, it is charge independent. That is a very logical one property, because we know that there are charged particles as well as uncharged particles inside a nucleus. When it comes to protons, we know that they are charged particles and they are positively charged. And we know that these positive charges it will be very difficult for them to stay so close to each other without being repelled. So, but this, we know that they are staying stable inside a nucleus. So it gives an idea that the strong nuclear force is a special type of force which does not depend on the charges. That is, the a proton and a neutron proton, or a neutron will have the same nuclear force between them, so it does not depend upon the charges. And finally, it is spin dependent. Just like electrons, the neutrons and protons, they also do have spins inside the nucleus, and it is dependent on the spin. So a stable nucleus will have with particles with parallel spins than anti-parallel spins. So it can have parallel as well as anti-parallel spin, but the spin is conserved in the case of a nucleus or the nuclear particles. So it is spin dependent, but it is charge independent. Then comes a saturation property, which says that nucleon will interact with only its immediate neighbor. If any particle lies at a particular distance more than the range, it will not interact with that. And It is short range. That is, if any nucleon manages to go away from the a particular range, that nuclear force, the nuclear force between them drops to zero. And where it has been made a comparison value 0.8 fermimeter. If there is any distance, if the nucleons are brought so close that the distance between them is less than 0.8 fermimeter, there is a large repulsive force. Okay, and then it is the strongest force known, strongest attractive force known, and the nucleons are held together by this strong force. So much is the detail about the strong nuclear force. So we know that when there is a very large force associated with a system, then that much amount of energy should be supplied to split them or break them apart. Or you can say that conversely, so much amount of work must be done in order to arrange this system into a particular stable, into its stable configuration. So in the next we have already discussed mass defect, binding energy per nucleon. Binding energy per nucleon is relevant here because an element which has large binding energy will be more stable. And another thing to be noted is what all accounts to the stability of a nucleus. A nucleus, the stability of a nucleus can be defined or explained on the basis of binding energy per nucleon, which is equal to EBN. Almost all the so many elements which come under the category, that is whose atomic mass is in the range 30 to 170, 30 to 170, which lies in this range, will have almost have the a good stability. That is, these nuclei are very stable. Among that, iron has the largest value of EBN, or it is considered as the most stable element because it requires more energy to split an iron nucleus into its respective nucleons. So values for atomic mass, less than 30, they have little lesser EBN, and greater than 170 also have little lesser value of EBN. And very small value of EBN, in smaller values of EBN indicates that these nuclei are not that stable, and they can easily, either they can go for a fission reaction. In order to attain stability, fission is splitting of a nucleus into an unstable nucleus into two different stable nuclei, or it can go for a fusion reaction where the in order to attain stability. So nuclear reactions are usually the reactions in which a nucleus undergoes certain transformation in order to attain stability. So we'll be discussing the nuclear stability in much more detail. And one more factor is that a nucleus which with more number of neutrons neutrons are more stable. They are more stable. This actually gives throws light on the fact that when there are more number of neutrons which are neutral, they tend to be more stable, because protons, when they come very close to each other inside a nucleus, there will always be a repulsive force which is trying to take them apart. So a more number of neutrons means the stability of the element is more. So the neutron to proton ratio is always a factor which decides the stability of an atom. More number of protons, actually, for an element or a nucleus to be stable, the number of neutrons should be almost equal to the number of protons, as in the case of lighter elements. But when you go to heavier elements, they can be stable only when they have more number of neutrons. But still, in the case of uranium-238 and all, the nucleus is unstable, and they can undergo fission reaction in order to attain stability. So in the next session, we'll be discussing in detail what nuclear fission and fusion reactions are.